This week on Winter Insight, I caught up with Mike Barker, the manager of Kandahar Ski Racing Club, which is one of the most prestigious ski racing clubs on the planet, but certainly one that's accessed by many top UK racers. And we chat about the differences between Kandahar and other clubs, and a little bit about the ski racing scene in general. Hi guys, it's James from Winter Insight here, and I'm here today with Mike Barker from Kandahar Racing, who is going to talk us through the details around Kandahar Racing Club, which is one of the most premium ski racing clubs that a lot of GB athletes use. People like Dave Riding have come from in the past, Dan Newell, etc. So it's a pleasure to have Mike with us today. Mike's going to give us a little bit of history on himself, Kandahar ski racing, and a bit of an insight into that world. So first of all, hi Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hi James, good morning.
Morning.
So Kandahar Racing itself, we are one of the main clubs on the British scene, and we've been in and around ski racing for a number of years. Kandahar Racing from 1996, 97, around there. But Kandahar Ski Club itself, the main ski club based in Switzerland, that got formed in 1924 by Sir Arnold Lund. Some of you may be old enough to remember Lund Poly Travel. And all those other bits of history in the skiing world, but the Inferno race comes from the club over there, which runs each January. Unfortunately, last year it couldn't run for the first time for many years, I think since the war. But we've all been through that in the last 12 to 18 months of things ticking on. But hopefully we'll get back to sliding soon, and we're hoping to get back out. And we've got some dry slope camps happening, indoor camps at Hemel Hempstead, and then we're back out, hopefully back in Switzerland, to visit some of our old hotels and make our acquaintances again with old friends.
Perfect. And the race is pretty famous. Can you tell us a little bit more about it for people who don't know?
So the Inferno race, basically, it's from the top of the Schilthorn, James Bond restaurant. If you have a look at that, the restaurant at the top of the mountain in Murren, and sometimes you can go all the way down to the base of the valley, but majority of the time it's around 10 to 12 minutes into the main village, higher up the mountain because of the snowfall. But on those exceptional years, it's a leg burner and a half. So Shemi Olcott took part, not last year but the year before, with her husband Dougie, and videoed it for Ski Sunday. If any of you want to have a look at that online, you can go and have a look at that. And Shemi did a great job of recording it and commentary all the way through. But there's a whole host of events during the week. Kandahar Ski Club itself hosts a number of events, and Murren Ski Club and the village host a lot of the other events. But it's an amazing place to be, and it's a privilege to be able to enter the race as part of the club. But there is a waiting list, and you've got to be quick to get on that list each year to get your entry in. There's limited numbers.
Excellent, great. I thought I'd mention it because we know Kemi did it last year, as you mentioned, so it's something people can watch out there. So it's great. Cool. So obviously Kandahar, coming from the Swiss club, tell us how you've got involved with the club and a little bit about your background, Mike.
So my background, I used to race as a junior. I started in Carlton Forum, which is a tiny little dry slope in Nottingham, in the forest. And obviously the Nottingham comes from Sherwood Arrows. It was named after the forest, and obviously Robin Hood. So we've got called the Sherwood Arrows. And then we moved our club, which we were quite a big part of as a family, up to Swadlincote when that opened in 1989, onto one of the newest slopes in the UK. And basically went from there, and then onto snow racing. Went through Telford Ski Club, because that was a great ski club, great on snow club with Chris Blagden and Alan Ashfield, lots of that fraternity back in the 80s, 90s. And then Kandahar was almost by default. Kandahar came along because Telford diminished a little bit with members and being able to run camps. And then Kandahar came along, and a lot of us moved across. I moved across in 1996 to be a member and race with them or for them. And then I've been a member ever since, dipping in and out. And then I've moved on, national team coach with Snowsport England. Then I popped over to Dubai for 6 years, doing a bit of that. But in between, worked with companies like Snowworks and the off-piste industry and other areas. So I've been around the industry quite a lot. And then Kandahar approached me as the ex-manager, Matt Shepherd, was moving on, and asked if I could take over in the interim. And I'm here still 2 years later, coping with what we've just had to go through for the last year, basically. But we did win Best Club in 2019 at the British Championships. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to be back to defend that in the last 2 years, because last year there was the start of the pandemic, and this year, unfortunately, it's still carrying on until we can get back sliding.
Yeah, okay. Well, it sounds like you've had obviously a great career in the ski industry. Obviously, to get to where you kind of got in your coaching life, you must have certain qualifications. So there will be people that maybe watch this, or people out there that want to take that route in their career, or certainly want to improve their ski qualifications. But just give us an idea of what qualifications you have to get to your level, and how you do those briefly.
So I was lucky enough, again, with Kandahar, when I was coming through, I was given the opportunity to shadow and kind of stepping stone my qualifications through as a youngster. So I started moving into the BASI world, so British Association of Snow Sport Instructors, when I was 17. So did a few qualifications with them. And then on the back of that, and kind of it went top and tail together with the home nations. So the home nations were running the coaching qualifications, which back then were called the APC, Alpine Performance Coach, and now is transformed into UK Coaching Pathway, UKCP. So that's the things you can look for on those websites. But as you move into the BASI, level 1 and level 2, I've always described it as working on gap courses and different areas, that they're your ones you can go out and be a great instructor and stop at level 2 and work off that career in places like Austria and Switzerland and other places, obviously with working visas now, those have come into place. But then as you move into your level 3 and 4, level 1 is 1 week with hours in between. Level 2 is 2 weeks with hours in between. And then as you go into level 3, that's almost 10 modules. So that's 10 weeks with all your hours, which increase as you go through for experience and logging to go with the license. And then you move into level 4, which is the highest level that the British and European nations look at with ISIA, which comes from the level 3 and 4. And with that, you've got your European Mountain Safety, the Euro test, as was. Hopefully, the guys can still get access to that and work with that during their process at the moment. I think BASI is still looking into various options of how those things might work in the transition period. And we're waiting to hear on the positive notes from Jazz Bruce, who's taking over that role with BASI. But essentially, it took me 7 years working in and out of being on the snow, being off the snow, doing courses, and trying to work and pay for them at the same time to be able to reach that top qualification. Some guys have done it a lot quicker, but finance and other things, I had to finance it through working, and that was how I had to do it, really.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate with who I was working for, giving me time off and grace periods to go and do courses when they were on, even if they clashed with a little bit of work sometimes.
Yeah, okay, great. No, that's brilliant. Thank you for that kind of a good landscape of what people need to get to, and they can obviously get more information off of BASI's website or other ski instructor websites as well, or organizations, I should say. So
yeah, the Home Nations coaching pathway is another option for those guys in the UK, because that's a separate pathway which you can take just as a coach. If you want to do just coaching, that's one way you can go. So I've got instructor and coaching, and some people choose a pathway and some people do a dual pathway.
Okay, great. That's really interesting. Thanks for that, Mike. Appreciate that. So a little bit more about Kandahar specifically. We talked briefly the other day, which was great to catch up. And one thing you mentioned about the membership. So tell me how people can join Kandahar, get involved with Kandahar Ski Club, and improve their skiing and get into racing with you.
So Kandahar Racing itself, we're an open club. You can come and join us at any point in the year for 1 hour, 1 day, up to 25, 26 weeks during the season when we've got different camps on, different various places around Europe. We tend to stick to Switzerland, Norway, France, Italy, where the races are. Follow the British race circuit, which is gbski.com. They publicise all of those race meets for us. We don't organise them, but we attend a lot of them as a club. Kandahar Ski Club itself, again, based in Murren. It's mainly British run. We've got lots of international members from all over the world, because it's quite a prestigious club to be part of. A lot of the Kandahar junior members from Kandahar Racing are invited to be members. It is an invitation to be a member. You can't just go online and sign up. And through that, you can get access to the Inferno race, access to other benefits. But primarily, it's a great way to meet people and people who love skiing. And lots of people in the main club, let's say, don't race sometimes. A lot of them are recreational skiers, and the Inferno is there. But we've also got the pentathlon, the SAS races, the amateur interclub championships, and that's all through the main ski club at Kandahar Ski Club.
Okay, great. That sounds excellent. There's lots of activities and lots going on there, and lots of various abilities as well.
Yeah, lots of activities, lots of socials. London and in Edinburgh, we've got a split across the main UK database, so they try and get everyone socially together as much as possible, as and when they can.
Excellent. So on that point, as and when they can, as you touched on, the last 12 months has been challenging, specifically for getting out of this country, going skiing, etc., interacting with other people as well. So how have you coped over the last 12 months? And I guess what are you doing coming out of this kind of period, planning for the future?
So we've been able to run some dry slope camps and indoor camps in the UK. With all the rules and regulations coming out of the centres and the national governing bodies, and working within those as we can. Some of the group numbers, some of the access outdoor and indoor have been fluctuating. So I've had to look at those with staffing numbers and how we attend centres. The centres have changed some timing sometimes, so that footfall through the centres and access onto the slopes have worked within those regulations. With us moving back out onto snow, our first camp out in the, well, back into across the borders, let's say, we're hoping to get to Switzerland on July the 17th. That's our main aim, but we're just obviously monitoring the news. We're waiting for information to come through. Snowsport Scotland, England, Wales, the home nations, and GBS have been providing that information that we can work with, and then we have to interpret that and put that into place as we go. We tried to get out in October last year, but unfortunately we couldn't get there for various reasons, and then that kind of led on to the winter period that we didn't ski at all. So we didn't really ski from last February. We haven't been out into the mountains. We went to Landgraf, which is the Dutch ski centre, last summer, but that was the last time we left the mainland UK to get out and ski.
Okay, so hopefully by this summer you're getting away again and back to normality, hopefully to some normality this winter.
As much as we can, heading back to Switzerland, home of the club, and hopefully we can slide again, but we have to wait and see.
Brilliant. And when will people be able to see kind of the upcoming courses or planning to do on the website, obviously subject to regulations?
So all of our camps, I say all of our camps, most of our camps are up on the website already. We've just put out a Zoom invite to our database to talk about the programme and other bits. So if anyone would like to know more about that, if you can email us on info@kandaharracing.com, and we can invite you into that. So yeah, we've been keeping in contact with our members and trainees and trying to keep them up to date of where we are on the roadmaps in and out of lockdown, and trying to get some new camps out there and working with them. So there's just been literally a list last night published of some countries that we can operate as coaches, and we're still looking into that at the moment on insurance and different databases.
Brilliant. Well, I'll include all the links to everything we've mentioned on this call and email it, everything in the post of this video anyway, so people can find out that information and join up and subscribe to your website and news as well. I think, I appreciate your time. We're coming towards the end of our call, and I just really firstly wanted to kind of ask you, where do you think that British ski racing is going? You guys are a premium club. There are some other clubs out there as well, and generally I know ski racing for Britain is getting a little bit more into the front of people's minds because of people like Dave Riding winning medals. We had in freestyle, we had Izzy Atkin, we've got James Woods, we've got Kirsty Muir, loads and loads of great skiers coming through. But on the racing side, where do you think it's going for British racing? On the back of daily.
So for British racing, we're at the top of the game for a number of years, and those guys coming through, they've fought hard to be where they are, and the support for them is immense from the clubs, the academies, and everyone coming through. So even those people booking holidays and other places, there's schemes coming through to support them financially and put those things in place. But as it comes through to actual talent, let's say, there's lots of talent out there. It just has to be funneled in the right way. And those people coming through the system, it has changed in the last few years because FISs have changed their age categories from 15 plus to 16 plus. So there's an extra year in children's racing to develop and become fit, strong, understand the equipment and the system, because it is quite confusing transferring from children's racing in the British system or any national system into the FIS system or online. and working out all those bits and traveling around to your race instead of being told which ones you need to go to as a British athlete to gain selection and selection races. So when you look at the likes of Dave Riding didn't really start racing till 13, 14 out on the snow. And now he's in his 30s and still knocking on the door of those podiums, as we saw this season. And then you've got the likes of Billy Major and Laurie Taylor coming through on the male side in slalom. You've got Charlie Raposo in the GS as a GS specialist, but moves into those parallel slalom teams. And then you've got Charlie Guest and Alex Tilley on the female side, but they've still got people knocking at their door coming through on the Europa Cup. You've got Jess Anderson, Liv Foster and people like that coming through, and they've been given opportunities this year to race on the World Cup circuit, whether it's been in the parallel or possibly in World Juniors or into Europa Cup racing. And then you've got a whole team behind those guys as well in Europa Cup with Rob Pop, he's another Kandahar member, and you can push those people through so far, but we need to back those up with people coming through into the race scene and working with it. And that's where the grassroots comes in with the dry slope guys, even popping along in the middle of the summer to your dry slope when it looks totally empty. That's sometimes the best time to go and try. You've got the place to yourself, you've got the instructors to yourself. The groups aren't brimming like the week before Christmas with people trying to get out to their holidays and having a taster session. So get along to those dry slopes. There is an interactive map on the Home Nations website, so Scotland or England or Wales. Tap in your postcode and they can advise you which is your closest slope, what club is from that slope, who to contact. All those elements are in place, and the sport's there to be loved by everybody.
That's excellent. Do you know what? I was going to ask you one more question, but I think that's an excellent way to finish. I think, yeah, it was going to be an awkward question, so I'll leave it. So I think, yeah, that's excellent. I think you're right. There's so much talent coming through. I was going to touch on maybe the challenges with the national body that's mentioned in the news recently, but I think we all know that happens at the top level of sport anyway, across various sports. And I think that's a great way to kind of end talking about Kandahar racing, with the incentive of people just getting out there, finding their local slope, just go racing. You know, and as you said, Dave Riding was 13, 14 before he really started getting into racing. I mean, I was similar age before I even started thinking about freestyle skiing and stuff like that. And, you know, and I know other kids who are the same that have gone on to be, you know, compete in the Olympics. So yeah, age is nothing but a number, really. It's all about dedication, and it's available for us in this country. And that's what we want to
push. We've got so many facilities in this country, and we just need to harness them, make use of them. And the facilities are generally very accommodating to having their race teams in and clubs to come and train. And sometimes it's in the evening, sometimes it's in the morning, but people are dedicated and people go for those hours because they're the hours we can work with and work on. The dry slopes are an amazing place. It's a little bit cheaper to be outdoors because you've got the matting there. It's not artificial snow, so it doesn't cost so much to run and other bits. But everywhere there's artificial races, there's indoor races, they cross over. There's lots of crossover. Dave Riding, again, we'll bring him up. Started at Pendle Ski Slope, the old green ski slope up there. And if anyone looks at it online, you probably get a picture of a sheep wandering across there at the same time, because that's where it is. It's in the hills up there with the witches in Pendle.
Excellent. Yeah, and if you can ski on plastic, you can ski on snow, right?
Pretty much anywhere in the world.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, look, thank you so much for your time today, Mike, and telling us a little bit more about Kandahar racing, but also just the kind of ski racing scene in general. I like the optimism of all the athletes coming through. That's great. And we'll obviously try and make sure we catch up with some of those athletes via Winter Insight. Some we have already, and some more we will talk to as well. So really appreciate your time today. Mike, if there's anything you could sign off with, what would it be?
Basically, when you can ski, get back out there, guys. Support your local centres because they're the ones where we grow our grassroots and our talent pathway.
Excellent. Thanks so much. We'll put all the info of Kandahar Racing below in this post, and I'm sure we'll catch up with Mike in a few months' time and see how the world and landscapes change. Hopefully, he'll have a snowy background behind him when we talk to you next.
Great. Thanks very much, James.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mike. Cheers. Thanks for watching today's interview. If you'd like to see any other interview from any other companies, please let us know by dropping us an email. Or if you're a brand that would like to feature in an interview on Winter Insight, please get in touch and we can arrange that for you. Thanks again for watching.